So, where did self-care come from? No, it wasn't poosh. Self-care was actually a medical concept that was popularized during the civil rights and women's rights era in the 1960s and 1970s. It was a term that broadly referred to health and community engagement, as in, how can we help our underserved communities access the basic health and social services that they need so they can continue to be activists? Aisha Harris's The History of Self-Care describes how self-care is rooted in the struggle for survival. It was patently not about pampering yourself. It was about centering disenfranchised people's health and well-being, which is, interestingly, also an aspect of the Buddhist philosophies that Western culture co-opted into productivity hacks. If you pay attention to most of the content around commodified self-care practices today, a lot of it mentions how these practices increase productivity or increase output. They're usually like pre-work morning routines known as the 5 to 9, as in what this person is suggesting you do between 5 a.m. and 9 a.m. to be a better worker. Translation, take care of you so you can take care of capitalism. Just kidding, but like not really. And hey, I mean, get up, seize the day. I don't think that's bad advice on its face if you prefer being an early riser, just that there is a pretty overbearing implicit suggestion in these videos of what the time should look like, right? So let's talk about self-care as the solution, quote unquote solution. So OG self-care, activism, strengthening a community's efforts toward equality. Now, commercialized, commodified, goopified self-care is positioned as the solution for the challenges endemic to our hyperspeed lives. But at the individual level, a philosophy that says you can outrun burnout and existential dread if you just wake up early and drink ice-cold lemon water first thing in the morning. Now, I'm not suggesting that getting enough sleep or exercising or eating nutritious foods or being hydrated are bad things. I suppose I'm glad that we're glamorizing mostly actually healthy lifestyle choices as opposed to like euphoria teen Molly binges, but there's an obsession with the self. Becoming the best version of oneself that I've absolutely subscribed to in the past, and I guess still do to some degree, that's just begging for some venture capitalist to say, you know what? We can disrupt that. There is a market opportunity here. And if you scratch just a little bit beneath the surface of the $4.4 trillion wellness global industry, you start to notice something. It's not really about taking care of yourself. Taking care of yourself would be actually scheduling the OBGYN appointment that you've been putting off for 6 months, guilty, and putting down the pumpkin spice cold brew long enough to drink a freaking glass of water, Katie. No, it's not about care. It's about self-indulgence and self-soothing and things that feel good. And hey, ladies, bonus points if they also make you look good. It's no coincidence that this groundswell of that girl content is occurring at this specific moment in history. When discussing this topic with my fact check editor, Kate, she pointed out that it's worth asking why we are so obsessed with soothing ourselves right now. Maybe it's because we're in the midst of a semi-stressful shift. If you listen to any of our previous episodes about millennials, money, the American dream, and how bootstrapping is proving to be an ineffective means of slowing the shrinking of the middle class, it starts to look more like a reaction to things getting worse. If you can't afford proper health insurance, at least you can get a candle or a face mask. And when life is moving at hyperspeed, but you also constantly somehow feel like you're falling behind, is it really any surprise that we're slapping a, to use Kate's words, millennial pink Gwyneth Paltrow branded Band-Aid on the issue? Nearly 20% of American adults have a diagnosed anxiety disorder, and I would venture a guess that the undiagnosed number, so people who suffer from anxiety without ever being clinically diagnosed by a professional, is even higher. Put that hypothesis in your back pocket for later. We're going to come back to it. Regardless, the center of the Venn diagram between the beauty industry and the wellness industry is the section in the middle that says, make money off of women's insecurities. As with most normative cultural moments directed at women, from the cult of domesticity to girl boss feminism, it's still an implicit directive about how or who we ladies should be. In some ways, the only difference between the 1950s cult of domesticity, meant to lure women back into the kitchen after they got that taste of freedom working outside the home during World War II, is who all these routines and aesthetics and products benefit. Hey, you don't have to have a perfect body and keep a perfect home for your husband anymore. Now you get to do it for yourself, and you better like it. Can we interest you in a jade roller for $39.99? I don't know about you, but I've never seen self-care content directed at cisgender heterosexual men. With the exception of that one viral, American Psycho TikTok guy who irons his sheets, I've never seen a that guy routine that shows a young and attractive straight man flitting around his Manhattan apartment, fluffing pillows and drinking green juice and doing mat Pilates on the floor. But therein lies the rub. The fancy facials and picturesque homeware and intricate rituals involving arsenals of brand name products catered to women are not likely to actually solve any of our problems. It's kind of like when you take a vacation because your work is sucking the life out of you, but then you come back from the vacation and your work just resumes sucking the life out of you. The vacation felt good, sure, but it didn't really address the root cause, the reason why you needed one in the first place.